All right, guys, I got a lot of people asking me about my first deployment, which was in the Korengal Valley. Don't have enough time to give you all the deployment stories in one TikTok video. So I've decided to open up with how I got my Bronze Star medal with Valor. Bear with me on this. These stories can be a little tough to tell sometimes. So we're just gonna get right to it. We did a patrol from Firebase Restrepo. We moved out of Firebase Restrepo and we're basically doing like a reconnaissance mission is what I'll say. And when I say we, I mean the 15 guys that we took on the patrol. We never left Restrepo with any more than like 15 soldiers. So we left in the middle of the night. We set up in an ambush site and we waited there all night. Nothing really happened that night. The sun comes up and our mission is done. So we start to RTB back to Restrepo. As we're moving back to Restrepo, we were in the middle of two peaks, kind of like a saddle is what I'll say. And at some point, one of the team leaders had like dropped a grenade. After he dropped the grenade, we called up to our higher headquarters. We let them know what happened and we're looking for guidance. And they basically told us, find the grenade. Why, you ask? Because if we didn't find it and the enemy found it, they would use it against us. Teams start to go out and they start to search for this grenade. This terrain is insane. You're basically on the side of a big ass mountain. While we were looking for that grenade, our second platoon was also out doing a mission. They received contact. This is where stuff starts to get a little crazy. As they're receiving contact, I do what I'm trained to do. I moved up to the top of the ridgeline because we were static anyways. And I start helping them suppress the enemy. I called in 120 millimeter mortars, 60s, and helped ensure that they were able to break contact. Unfortunately, second platoon did take a KIA that day. They were able to RTB back to the COP. Back to us. After second platoon was able to RTB, we were not able to find the grenade. So we called it back up. And after about 30 minutes of sitting static, we were told that we could continue to RTB back to Restrepo. Unfortunately, in the Korengal Valley, if you're static for more than like 15 minutes, the enemy is going to maneuver on you. And guess what? That's exactly what the enemy did. On top of sitting static for 30 minutes, at some point our PL had released our support by fire position. And they had already started to head back down to Restrepo. I believe they had already made it back to Restrepo. It's a lot easier to run down a mountain than it is to walk up a mountain, is what I'll say. That left us with somewhere around 10 or 12 people in our patrol. I don't remember the exact number, but there's no more than 12 of us left. We basically had a team size element plus the headquarters section. How the headquarters section was structured was just like this. It was the PL, followed by the RTO, followed by the forward observer, followed by the medic. We were in the rear position at the time. Our medic never pulled rear security. So I talked to him before we got up to move out and I said, hey, switch me spots. He was like, no problem, Xander. And we switched spots. As soon as we switched spots, I grabbed my pack, put it on my back, I tighten the straps, I take 1, 2, 3 steps, and that's when all hell broke loose. The first thing that I sensed was heat. I felt heat on my face. And then I look and I saw what looked to be confetti is the best way I can explain it. Upon feeling that and seeing that, I immediately dove to a concealment / cover position, what was available there. After diving, and I don't know the time period, I don't know if I may have been unconscious at one point, I really have no idea what happens during those moments. Time and space is just like weird is what I can tell you. After diving, I remember looking up and just seeing smoke and dirt, right? And the other thing that I remember very well is not being able to hear. It was just like, wom, 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 wom. After my hearing cleared up, that is the first time I started to hear the screams. I started to move to the closest scream I could hear. I move over there, and who do I see there? Our medic, the guy I just switched spots with. And unfortunately, he was hit. Our medic had taken shrapnel to both his upper thighs, basically. I immediately start to fumble with my first aid kit, right? And at that point, I'm terrified. I'm scared. I'm nervous. I'm second guessing myself. He's walking me through instructions on what to grab, cut his pants. After about 2 to 3 minutes of this and starting to put gauze and stuff like that on him, I remembered the one thing they always teach you, right, is we need fire superiority. So I take my aid kit, I throw it at the medic, and I said, hey man, I gotta start calling for fire. And that's what your boy did. I started calling for fire. I started calling in for 120s, 60s, and 777s. At the same time, I'm starting to send up reports to higher headquarters also. Let them know that we just got hit, we have troops in contact, and we have casualties. I'm also requesting higher echelon assets at that time. CAS and what was known back then as CCA, now Army Attack Aviation. We need more guns immediately, and we're gonna need medevacs. As I'm starting to suppress the area, we get a report. It is basically the enemy saying, we just hit the Americans. We are maneuvering on them to take the bodies and unalive the rest of them. Now I'm super scared, but I have a job to do. I continue to suppress the area. I'm reading my map. I'm trying to see how they can maneuver on from us. I only see 2 locations that they could really get to us from. On top of all that and trying to get through that, there are a lot more screams happening. So we are developing a CCP at that point. I'm updating 9 lines as we go, and I am continuing to suppress the area. I'm talking to A-10s, I'm talking to Apaches. I think we may have had even like Bone on station or some F-16s at some point, and I'm just continuously adjusting the 120s, 60s, and the 777s. As we're doing all of that, we get a pretty firm hold on all the casualties. As the medevac birds are like lined up, ready to move out of where they were lined up at, which is our COP, the weather starts to turn to shit. On top of that, we realize we're missing a person. We start to hear a very faint scream, and it was coming from about 200 meters down the mountain. Yep, one of our guys had got blown off the mountain 200 meters. The good news is the medevac birds did start doing turn and burns at this point, and they were getting casualties out. Out of all these events happening, what I forgot to tell you guys is there was basically 3 people who were able to do all of this, myself and 2 other guys. That's because the support by fire position got released early on that patrol, but no one's to blame for anything. Thankfully, we were able to meet up with the support by fire position while we were headed down the mountain. Me and another guy were headed down. We linked up with the support by fire position, and we were able to get to the kid who got blown off the mountain 200 meters. Where he was located on this mountain, there was no way to evacuate him out other than jungle penetrator. I got to control that bird. We got him out of there. At this point, not only is it raining, hell starts to hit, and we start moving up the mountain. That's the part I forgot. Right before all hell broke loose on the weather, guess what? We got them motherfuckers trying to get us. Yep, smoked them with some Apaches. Big win for us. So, what did Specialist Alexander do to get a Bronze Star Medal of Valor? Specialist Alexander controlled 60mm mortars, 120mm mortars, 777s, Army Attack Aviation, multiple CAS platforms. He integrated those assets to suppress and destroy the enemy, all while calling in and conducting multiple 9-line medic evacuations. Unfortunately, we had 1 KIA after 2 RPGs had hit the middle of our patrol. But all of the other 9 or 8 casualties altogether made it out of there. That is how Specialist Alexander got his Bronze Star Medal of Valor.